Alright, everyone, today we're not going to be talking about 10, not 20, not even 30, but 40 dinosaurs that could be appearing in Jurassic World Chaos Theory. So stay tuned on this ride because, boy, there are so many to go over, whether that be confirmed, whether that be partially confirmed. We're going over all of them, even if they've been in Camp Cretaceous. We're going over everything. So starting off with T-Rex. We know T-Rex is 100% in the series, as if you've seen the Chaos Theory teaser trailer, the announcement trailer, we saw T-Rex was in it. But will the T-Rex from Isla Nublar be the only one that's in it? Could we also see Buck and Doe, right? We know they're at the end of Dominion. How'd they get to Bison Valley? Maybe Chaos Theory could explain that. We do know they were living in Fisherton Falls for a partial amount of time. So will we see them be transferred from there to Bison Valley? But moving on, number 2, Allosaurus. We know Allosaurus is highly likely to appear in Chaos Theory because of toy leaks and reveals. So Mattel, they revealed an Allosaurus toy for their new line, and it said it is part of the new content. This is the oldest Chaos Theory dinosaur we've known about. We've known about this one first, and we also know about through the upcoming new Captives line. What was rumored through the New York Toy Fair was that Allosaurus was part of that Captives line for Chaos Theory specific creatures, and it had a tick on it. It was like, yep, it's Chaos Theory. But next up, number 3 is Atrociraptor. This also has a Captives toy line, and it is getting a 2-pack with Darius. And who's in the show? Darius. So it's like, why would you make a 2-pack of Darius now? Like, I doubt it would be Camp Cretaceous. It has to be Chaos Theory. And it is Ghost specifically. So I'm guessing we will see the original Atrociraptor squad. But number 4 is the Suchomimus. This is also getting a Captives that we know of. There's no confirmed Mattel toy as of yet. There might be soon, though, as Ben is supposed to be in the show and is coming with a large dino. We don't know if it's Suchomimus or it could be Ankylosaur, anything really, but we don't know which Suchomimus it could be. It could be a bland one. It could even be the 2015 website one, the one that appears in Jurassic World Evolution and Jurassic World Live as well. But next up, we have the Becklespinax. This thing is going to probably be announced in Chaos Theory as some sort of Spino T-Rex hybrid, because if you've seen it, it's like a smaller T-Rex with a sail down its back. Now, we know this is confirmed because it both has a Captives toy that was seen at the New York Toy Fair for the Chaos Theory toy line, and it's also getting a Mattel toy. So it's like, why would both lines have Becklespinax if it's not in the show? And it is called the Battle Royal Becklespinax, what the toy for Mattel is. But next up, we have the Pachyrhinosaurus. So Pachyrhinosaurus has kind of appeared throughout the franchise before. Originally, Sinoceratops was meant to be Pachyrhinosaurus. So I wonder if this Pachyrhinosaurus will be based on the Sinoceratops, but without the horn on its nose, obviously. We'll have to wait and see. I do hope it's changed up. There was the Jurassic World exhibition one, which was very cool. There was a whole, like, asset made for it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have the Ankylosaurus. So we know Bumpy is a very main star in the Camp Cretaceous saga. But apparently we're getting a new Ankylosaur entirely that could be a partner to the campers. There is rumors of a brand new plain Ankylosaur that has more of a flat back. I believe it's going to be brown or something. And yeah, apparently might be friends with the campers. So we'll have to wait and see on that. I assume it might be friends with the brand new character called Sydney that's coming to the show. And they might get a 2-pack. But as of yet, there's no proper toys announced besides the Captives and Ankylosaurus. But next up, we have Ceratosaurus. So this was revealed through the Mattel line of Wild Raw toys. So they're the medium assortment. They're like, and they make Raws, obviously. But Ceratosaurus is confirmed in the show, which is pretty cool. So I'm very excited for that because Ceratosaurus is my favorite one, and it does say that it's appearing in all new content. Pachyrhinosaurus is also getting this Wild Raw toy. And next up, Parasaurolophus Lux is getting, that's right, not just any Parasaurolophus, the bioluminescent one. As its feature says, it glows with its spine and stuff. So that's really cool. I'm super excited because I love the coloring on Parasaurolophus Lux, and I'm super excited for it to return. But could we also get the normal Parasaurolophus? Could we get the Dominion Parasaurolophus, right? There's so many. Imagine just all the Parasaurolophuses meeting up. It would be so cool, honestly. But another one that was part of the Wild Raws, which is confirmed for the new content, is Majungasaurus. So Majungasaurus hasn't really appeared in the franchise before. It's appeared in games such as Jurassic World, the game that's the main one because it's the second creature unlock. But it was actually in Indominus Rex's genome. So I wonder if some of Indominus Rex's genome will be scattered throughout future shows, movies, just like how Therizinosaurus and Giga were put in Dominion, and those were part of Indominus Rex's genome. But let's move on to a more well-known species, and that is the Dilophosaurus. So I'm super excited because Dilophosaurus could potentially be appearing. It's not 100% confirmed, but it is getting a Mattel toy, which is in the upcoming Chaos Theory line. And we can tell it's the Chaos Theory line because some of the descriptions of the toys confirm that they're part of the new content, whereas the rest of the toys, they're all just part of the Jurassic saga, whereas the previous Epic Evolution line for the Jurassic toys, none of them were from the shows, almost none of them, besides Allosaurus. But moving on, we have Apatosaurus. So Mattel is making a baby Apatosaurus. And the last time they made a specific baby was the baby Brachiosaurus. And what happened right after that? It was put in Camp Cretaceous Season 3. So it's like, Apatosaurus surely has to be in the show, right? And we did see in the trailer, we saw sauropod footprints, and those are most likely to either be Mamenchisaurus and Apatosaurus. And I highly doubt Mamenchisaurus is coming back so soon. Maybe it is, who knows? Next up, we have Monolophosaurus, which is also part of the Mattel lineup in the same area as Dilophosaurus. They're both strike attack creatures, so it's very cool. Both Dilophosaurus and Monolophosaurus could be appearing, one with the 1 crest, one with the 2 crests. I hope they have a face-off against each other. If they both do appear, it's not entirely confirmed, but I would like to see if they both do. So next up, we have Gallimimus. This one makes sense to return. You know, they have the Camp Cretaceous model. They're making a toy of it in the new Mattel line. And this was Darius's father's favorite dinosaur. So Darius has a very strong connection to this dinosaur. It only makes sense that it appears, right? Especially with Darius returning. There's like, I can't see why they wouldn't get this guy to return. Have a look at that. But yeah, Gallimimus, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with this creature. Will they change it up at all or keep it the same? We'll have to wait and see. But next up, we have Dimorphodon. So this flying creature was not in Fallen Kingdom. We thought they all went extinct because in Jurassic World, we saw them. They were all flying around. But then in Camp Cretaceous Season 3, Darius decides to grab a chunk of dynamite and then it gets chucked at the Dimorphodons and we assume it just blows them all up. So, but no, they weren't blown up because they appeared in Dominion. So I assume we might see them in Malta if we go there to Malta again. But speaking of Malta, Lystrosaurus is coming up. It's part of the toy line. And we know Atrociraptors are in the show. Those are almost confirmed pretty much. So Lystrosaurus is very highly likely to be in the show along with all the others that could be in Malta. I assume we'll see a lot of Malta creatures. Allosaurus could be there, Dimorphodon, etc. But something that intrigues me with this Lystrosaurus is it that it comes in a 2-pack of toys, and not with a human, but with another dinosaur, and that is Guanlong. No, it's not Oviraptor, it is Guanlong. You heard that right. So you would have thought, right, they fought in Dominion. It only makes sense. They come in a 2-pack together, Oviraptor and Lystrosaurus. But no, Mattel seems to keep on avoiding this Oviraptor. So it makes me wonder, why would you pick Guanlong? Surely it has to be in the new series that goes up against Lystrosaurus if you're putting it in the show, right? Otherwise, it makes absolutely no sense to me. But yeah, I think Guanlong could be in the show. It has appeared in media such as Jurassic World, the game, but we'll have to wait and see. So next up, though, is Carnotaurus. This one, it makes more than sense. They have the mold for it for Camp Cretaceous, one of the oldest models because it appeared in Camp Cretaceous Season 1, that being Toro, the well-known Carno villain, which now rests on Manticorp Island. So we do know Ben visits Manticorp Island, and we do know he will be in the new show. So maybe we'll see Toro again, but maybe we could even see the demon Carnotaurus that was in Dominion. You know, maybe they re-texture Toro's skin and show us that Carno. But next up, we have the Compsognathus. So, while we do not have any toys of it, it did appear in Camp Cretaceous. So I feel it only makes sense. We'll eventually have to see this guy, right? They have the model for it, and it only makes sense they transfer over because they just reuse models after a while. Like as soon as they added Ceratosaurus in Season 2, right? It just started appearing in every season. It came back Season 3, got killed by Scorpios. Came back Season 4, hunted the Spinoceratopses. Came back in Season 5 to get shot by some hunters. But yeah, moving on, we have the Mosasaurus. I think it's highly likely we see Mosasaurus because this is one of the few creatures that did not get a proper story in Dominion, so I feel they could expand upon its story in the new series, but I feel they might save the upcoming Jurassic World 4 movie to expand on the Mosasaurus' story, because you think all the major carnivores like T-Rex, Allosaurus, they got locked away at the end of Dominion, or at least they're free roaming Malta, but I assume they got locked up. But Mosasaurus is still free to roam the ocean, so we'll have to see. Alright, next up we have Velociraptor. So, we know Velociraptor is a very staple creature in the franchise. Been in it since Jurassic Park 1, been in almost all the Camp Cretaceous shows, pretty much all of them. Blue wasn't in Season 4, I don't think, but they had brown Velociraptors to replace her, kind of. So, it makes me wonder, could we see Velociraptors? And not just any Velociraptors, but thanks to Dinotrack website, we do know there are Jurassic Park 3 raptors out in the world. Maybe even Tiger Raptor, but I think that was deleted concept. So, could we see them in Chaos Theory? Let me know below in the comments. But, next up, we have Brachiosaurus. So, we saw this guy at the end of Camp Cretaceous. It was the very last creature we saw out in the open. Maybe they could open Chaos Theory with that scene, or maybe it opens with an entirely other scene, right? Brachiosaurus, you going to be in Camp Cretaceus or not? We'll have to wait and see, but I think it's highly likely they bring it back. Maybe a cool scene with the Apatosaurus and Brachiosaurus, like sauropods combined, I think would be awesome. Maybe even if they add in Dreadnoughtus, but that's not confirmed yet. I'm not confirming Dreadnoughtus in this list. That's not part of the list. Moving on in the list, though, is Stegosaurus. So this was in Camp Cretaceous in pretty much all the seasons. I don't know if it was in Season 1, but I know it was in Season 2 in the Ceratosaurus episode and stuff. I remember very fondly because they had the Jurassic creatures, right? Stegosaurus and Ceratosaurus both from the same era, and they were in the same episode, so it was super awesome. And then they continued to push it further within the shows. So I just think it's highly likely we could see Stegosaurus in this. But something else I think is highly likely is Sinoceratops itself. So Sinoceratops, right? It appeared in Fallen Kingdom. It appeared in Dominion. It almost seemed like it was taking the role from Triceratops itself, and it was in Camp Cretaceous. They have the model for it. I don't see why they wouldn't put in the show, right? Maybe we'll have the Spinoceratopses or something, but just wait. I'm getting to the Spinoceratopses eventually. But the next creature that I do want to talk about is the Pteranodon. So I did talk about Dimorphodon, one flying creature, but Pteranodon, highly likely to appear. They have the Camp Cretaceous model for it, similar to every species I've talked about on the list, besides the first 10, excluding like T-Rex and whatnot. But Pteranodon, I think is highly likely. They have different colors for Pteranodon. It's appeared in the show. You know, we're getting Dimorphodon. We may as well get some other flyers, right? But could we get Quetzalcoatlus? That's not part of the list, but I do wonder if they're adding those flyers in. I would love to see Quetzalcoatlus eventually, along with other Dominion species. But next up is Baryonyx. So, we did have some very specific Baryonyxes appear in Camp Cretaceous. One is currently locked to Manticore Island. I believe that's Limbo, unless Limbo died because she got flung very far by a T-Rex. So Limbo might be dead. We do know Grim is dead, unfortunately shot to death. That was one of the most unexpected deaths. That was the first dinosaur death of Camp Cretaceous. There was like a really big impact. And I was not expecting this. It really kind of set the tone for the show from there on. But next up, the Ouranosaurus. This only appeared in a couple of episodes of Camp Cretaceous Season 3. It didn't reappear. Monolophosaurus also appeared in that season, but it reappeared in the Hidden Adventure. So it got more screen time, and it just makes me think, could Ouranosaurus get more screen time? I think, you know, Chaos Theory is highly likely to show it off, give it more screen time than it needs, because, yeah, I feel it has very little screen time compared to a lot of other species in the show. And I did love the Ouranosaurus. The colors were nice, everything about it. But another herbivore I think could reappear is Kentrosaurus very easily, especially if Ben revisits Manticore Island, right? I just think this is such a highly likely scenario because Ben loves Bumpy so much. It only makes sense. But yeah, could we see Dr. Mayweather? Is that her name? I always forget her name. But May Turner, Dr. May Turner, with her Kentrosaurus peers. I think it's quite likely, you know. But speaking of herbivores on Manticore Island, we also have Spinoceratops. I did say I was getting to that. I think it's highly likely we could see an adult version of these Spinoceratopses, right? You think it's been ages since we went to Manticore Island where they were babies. That was in 2016, but now the year should be 2022. So that is like a 6-year time jump. They have to be adults by that time, right? So they'll be all grown up. We have seen an adult model in Jurassic World Live. That's the only adult model we got. Will it look similar to that? we'll have to wait and see. This is editor Pro C coming in because I completely skipped over a species, my bad, so I'm just editing it in right now, and that would be the Nothosaurus. We know the Nothosaurus was in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 5, so they have the asset for it. They could easily implement it in. I do believe Nothosaurus was the reason Mount Sibo exploded in Fallen Kingdom, so it'd be funny if they actually mentioned that on screen in Chaos Theory. I do believe it was mentioned in a book somewhere, but yeah, who knows. Anyway, let's move on to the next species. Nothosaurus, you got your time. But next up, we have the Tarbosaurus. So this was exclusive to Hidden Adventure. We only saw it. It was the main antagonist of that show, though. Not really show, it was more like one special episode. But it did get a lot of screen time in that. But I do wonder, could it return? Because it had eggs, and we never saw those hatch. Could those eggs hatch? And they went onto the mainland. They were transferred over from the people who worked at Lockwood Manor. We'll have to wait and see. I would love to see a big Tarbo versus like some other big carnivores. But yeah, next up we have Smilodon. So, Cenozoic Ice Age creatures are so underrated in the Jurassic franchise, right? They added in Smilodon just for it to get killed off immediately. Like, come on. And apparently there was going to be Woolly Mammoth in Season 5, but they just didn't have the budget for it. So fingers crossed we could get Ice Age creatures. I'm not including Woolly Mammoth on the list because they don't have the model for it yet. But Smilodon, they do have the model for it. Fingers crossed they can bring it back from extinction. But next up is Spinosaurus. Right, if we do go to Manticore Island again, I think it's highly likely we see the Spinosaurus. They have the model for it. It's a fan favorite, especially the bipedal one from the Jurassic Park 3 era. Everyone loves that one, even though it's not scientifically accurate. But people do love it. I love it. I would love it to see it return. Yeah, what else is there to say? It's Spino. Bring it back, please. But another big carnivorous theropod I would like to talk about. It's gonna raise a few eyebrows from you guys, but it is Indominus Rex. Now, don't leave yet. This is because, right, you think back to Season 4, they had the PTSD episodes with Yasmina. What did she see in those post-traumatic stress disorder moments? She saw the Indominus Rex in them, right? In those kind of dream sequences where she was stressing out. I think maybe we could focus an episode on the effects of what dinosaurs have done to people, and Indominus Rex could come back. Similar to how I think Scorpios Rex could also come back, which, you know, hopefully you haven't clicked off if you just heard my Indominus Rex thing, so I doubt you're clicking off for this. It's the same story. We saw Scorpios Rex with Indominus Rex in that same scene, so I just think it's highly likely that we could get a Scorpios Rex PTSD scene with the Indominus Rex once again, or maybe separately. You know, Kenji did talk about having a dream with Scorpios Rex on a plane, similar to the Jurassic Park 3 Alan scene. But let's move on from the hybrids, right, over onto Gastonia. Now, you're probably like, what is this? This is an Ankylosaur. And the Jurassic franchise really lacks Ankylosaurs. Now, while we haven't seen this in a previous show, we do know it's getting an upcoming toy that will be in the Chaos Theory line. While it's not confirmed for Chaos Theory, it could be just part of Epic Evolution. It is getting released alongside all the other Chaos Theory creatures. So it makes me think, could we finally get another Ankylosaur? I don't count Eurocephalus because that was part of a deleted scene, but I think it is highly likely we could see Gastonia because we are lacking Ankylosaurs and need more. But speaking of a creature that was also part of the lineup coming along with Chaos Theory toys is Chasmosaurus. So this guy has appeared in Jurassic World Evolution, but I've put it very far down the list because I think it's highly unlikely to appear in the show just because of how many ceratopsians we already have. We're already getting Pachyrhinosaurus, right? I don't think we need it, but I think it's a possibility it could come. But something else I think could be in the show because it's in the toy line is Brachiosaurus. So if you don't know what it is, it's a sauropod. Kind of imagine a Apatosaurus, but it has a lot of spikes going down its neck. And it's very cool. It's in Jurassic World Alive. I've probably put it up on screen. I should have. But yeah, it's a pretty cool sauropod. I'm pretty excited for it if it were to appear in the show. But Epic Evolution is going to have a toy of it. I assume it will have a feature. Its spikes disappear or something, or they shrink, go bigger. We'll have to wait and see. But the second last creature I want to talk about is Raoisuchus. Now, if you know what Cabrasuchus is, it's a four-legged crocodile. They're all four-legged, but they have extremely long legs. Like, it's not like a tiny little crocodile leg. It's a massive one, right? They walk around on all those. and they're very interesting species. But Rarisuchus is also getting a toy along with the Chaos Theory line. Might not be in it, but it's along with those creatures. But last creature is a big carnivore I talk about in this video, top left. And yeah, that's about it of the video. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.